one said you could touch.
Hello everybody, and welcome to the Bayonetta 2 walkthrough. Yeah! Oh, I'm so excited! As I'm sure most people know at this point, I'm a massive Bayonetta fan. Like, I love the series, it's amazing. So I'm very, very, very excited to be doing a walkthrough of Bayonetta 2 finally! I mean, it's not been out that long, but still! Now, one thing I will point out now is there are multiple characters that you can select, but that's not an option until much later in the game, and I'll explain that. We'll be playing on second Climax, because that's kind of the middle difficulty. It's basically normal, but if you compare it to the original Bayonetta's normal, it's definitely easier. Bayonetta's normal kind of comes in between Bayonetta 2's second Climax and third Climax. Now, one thing I do want to point out before we begin is that if you haven't experienced the original Bayonetta, then I would definitely recommend you watch my walkthrough of it that's on my channel before going into Bayonetta 2 if you don't want certain things to be spoiled, because certain story elements will be spoiled in the course of this walkthrough. And I don't want to ruin some of those wonderful surprises. But either way, as we get this rather wonderful kind of pause in time, we get started on, I believe it's called The Remembrance of Time, The End. It's glorious. It's basically a wonderful callback to the record of time that happened in the original Bayonetta with the falling clock tower, and it's just really cool. So what's kind of going on at the minute is we've got a wonderful voiceover from Yuri Lowenthal, who, if I recall correctly, in the original Bayonetta, they had multiple people do the voiceover at that point, and they did get Yuri Lowenthal, who voices Luca in the game, to do one of them, but they never used it in the end. So I just find it kind of interesting that they decided to go with him this time around. And I will point out that what he's saying is important, but yeah, I'm not quite sure the audio balancing is good enough to make it seem like it's hugely important, even though it is. Now, another thing that I'd like to point out is that this game is amazing, and it runs generally very smoothly. It was pointed out in, I think it's Digital Foundry, the guys who do the frame rate checks on every game ever that comes out, that at times it does drop, and this opening sequence is certainly one of those moments where the frame rate does kind of dip quite obviously. But considering it's got this filter over the standard graphics, I think that's probably why that happens. Also, why is it that whenever I do the opening part of a Platinum game, I'm just like going 10 to the dozen on talking? It's just insane! It's gonna get even worse, because the thing is that, like, there's so much to talk about with these games, because they move so quickly. And just, I mean, I'm not so much of a fan of this opening sequence in comparison to the original Bayonettas, because I much prefer the song One of a Kind to this, The Legend of Acia, which we're hearing right now. Just because I think that had a better kind of flow to it. This is kind of very stop-starty in terms of its movement. Because it's the kind of ha 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 ha. It's quite staccato, I think is the word. Well, this is interesting.
Cheeky. No one bothered telling me any of your kind survived. At least you're the silent type. The last sage I met spent 20 minutes rambling on and on.
And don't I bloody know it? Oh my god. Love that joke so much. And, as I said, fair warning. Your opening spoiler for the game has appeared. And I love that they got Grant Albrecht back for this particular role. Love it! I mean, it's so sad, really.
My dear, sweet child, at last you have fulfilled your promise to me. Fear not. For I am always watching over you.
Now, if you played the original Bayonetta or know what happens, then sort of
But the right eye of light
that
is lost from the world forever.
introduces something that you may not be expecting, and
Of the
it
Lumen sages.
is very sad. And, I mean, it gets even more complicated as this game progresses, because it's an odd little time continuum that we have in the Bayonetta universe. And also, you should have noted there that there are achievements in the form of bewitchments, because obviously Wii U games don't have achievements unless developers put them there themselves. And this game has the Umbran Tears of Blood and the bewitchments, and you get one for completing the end. And now we're going into the prologue, which is arguably one of the most amazing openings to a game I have ever experienced in my entire life. Like, it just blows my mind. Now, I believe the prologue was basically used as the demo for the game, and it's a great demo. However, I will go in a little bit later as to why I have certain problems with the prologue, but that'll be for later. Also, the wonderful Hideki Kamiya had involvement, but it's actually directed by Yusuke Hashimoto, who produced the original Bayonetta. Basically, a lot of the main people behind Bayonetta came back for this one, but roles slightly shifted. And also, I don't know whether you're able to hear it there, but there was just an ever so slight use of the one of the songs from the Wonderful 101. Which is just like, yes!
Do you know what they
coming
And
up.
hello,
Here I got
Bayonetta.
shot, minding my own business, then you show up and turn me into a damn porter. Seriously, Bayonetta, you still haven't paid me back for the car. Hey, whoa!
Now, is that any way to speak to an old friend? Besides, I did that job for you. For free, might add. Do I really have to tell everyone how you grabbed onto my leg sobbing like a schoolboy?
This is why I can't have good things. You're some piece of work, you know that? If you weren't already lined up to go to Inferno, you'd be well on your way with all the shit you pull. Dressing up like a nun just so you could off some angels and keep the underworld happy. Hey, I'm talking to you. Shit. But if it's that or getting torn limb from limb for eternity in whatever circle of Inferno you witches go to if you break the contract, forget about it. I'd off the fucking wing bastards all damn day. Oh, hey, what the hell? Hey. But what the fuck you wasting your time trying to send some schmucks off to the afterlife for? Oh.
Done and done. Let's go home, Enzo.
Hey, wait a second. I ain't done here. If I don't get what I came for, I'm gonna be the biggest mutt in the city.
And what is it that you came to fetch, my dear?
Real funny. I know better than to tell you a damn thing. I'll never hear the fucking end of it.
You always know how to make an entrance, Jeanne. A rare sight to see you in the city.
Just had something I had to look into. Cereza, you haven't felt anything strange recently?
Now that you mention it, I still haven't quite figured out how a broke, bumbling wise guy managed to turn himself into a semi-respectable family man.
Forget about it. And what's this Cereza shit? You're about as sweet as my Nona's grappa, you know that? Some witch with amnesia goes around calling herself a weapon, and it turns out she really got stuck with a kid's nickname. That shit's rich, I tell you what.
Our friends in Paradiso are far too quiet. I'm sure you've noticed. But they aren't the only ones.
Pray tell.
Our friends down south seem to be a bit upset as well.
And now in life news, the annual holiday parade is being held today. City police have closed off roads to prepare for the massive influx of merrymakers expected to take in this year's festivities, set to be headlined by a flyover from the military's aerial acrobatics unit. According to Channel 2 News, the 50-year parade may break all-time attendance records.
Whoa, shit! The Platinum Stars. Crap. I need to hurry up and get Ed and Edna's presents, or I'm gonna get it.
We'll talk later. I'll see you back home. Don't forget to pick up the things for the party.
What's the matter with you? I told you what I'm after. A jet! I want a toy jet! You know, the kind with wings, flies in the sky. No, I'm not buying any damned angels. Yellow, blue, I don't care what color they are. I learned my lesson with those bastards, you hear me? Just a normal damn jet, please! You hear that? I want one of those! The thing's flying in the air right now. That's the one. That's the biggest one you got in the store, right? Wrap it up nice, will you? It's a present, for God's sakes. Yo! You know what? Screw the pretty ribbon. Just hurry up and put it in the box, will ya? Fuck the damn ribbon!
You know, I try to avoid doing this in my Sunday best.
At least your lot still knows how to make an end.
Oh, this prologue never fails to make me smile. So as we listen to the absolutely amazing Moon River Climax mix, which is sung by Keely Bumford, we get to do a tutorial. Basically the gameplay is very, very similarly to the original game. There's just a difference in the combos with the guns. Also, they have vastly improved the gun climax because it's much more powerful and is not nearly as annoying. Now, if you've never experienced Bayonetta before, it's a very accessible hack and slash game that basically does its entire gameplay around witch time. So if you dodge at the right moment, then you kind of slow down time and can get free hits on your opponents. And then you basically need to try and get as high a combo as possible. Now, I have to say, I am in love with Moon River Climax Mix. It's just so amazing. It's, I have to say, so much better than Fly Me to the Moon in Bayonetta 1. My main complaint? After this instance, we aren't going to hear Moon River Climax Mix for a very, very long time. It's criminally underused. Like, so criminally underused. Like, I mean, that opening, that cutscene with Bayonetta fighting to it is just one of the most insane things I have ever seen in my life. And just kind of is a massive mission statement for Bayonetta as a character and Bayonetta 2 the game. And I think it's amazing. Maybe slightly overly sexually charged. Perhaps even more so than the original game, but that's not quite something that's completely followed through, I have to say. Also, Rodan, Santa. This is just insane, and I love it. You can probably tell by the fact that I'm literally just continuing to laugh. This is just insane. I just have a insanely just geeky joy with this game and this franchise. Platinum Games are just amazing developers and I love them. And here we have the rather amazing Love is Blue, which is the name of the guns. And there's the cover art shot. You see that it's quite clever that they did that. I should hope you believe in Santa, Enzo. It's very important. Because Santa's wonderful. Especially when he's Rodon, because Rodon's just like the most badass person ever. And now that we have Love is Blue, we unlock Umbran Climax, which is this game's new feature. Basically, whenever you fill up your magic bar, which is those little circles underneath the health bar, you can unleash Umbran Climax, which basically unleashes your infernal demons upon your unsuspecting angel enemies and cause mass havoc. It's a really, really awesome feature, and is just absolutely bonkers. Like, I've seen nothing like it ever. And the music that we're fighting to now is called Tomorrow Is Mine, which is also vocals are done by Keely Bumford. And this is Bayonetta's theme for this game. And it is also awesome. I just wish that Moon River got played more, because I love it. I think I love it more than Tomorrow Is Mine, but it's a nice sort of weird balance between them, whether they're better than the other or not. It's just insane. Now, something I should probably bring up now, whilst we are on a jet fighting centaur angels in the middle of what I think is New York City, is that this is going to be a walkthrough, which I stated, but what I mean by that is that I'm going to attempt to get a straight platinum run on this difficulty, finding all of the collectibles that I possibly can, and then in the extras I'm going to try and cover absolutely everything that this game has to offer. I cannot guarantee whether that is going to quite happen just yet. I mean, at the time of recording this opening part, I've not finished recording all stuff, so I can't quite tell how everything's going to pan out, but that is the plan. And also, using a torch attack there, which is something you can also do if you fill up your magic meter, is an absolutely brilliant way of avoiding damage, because you are invincible during it, and you just get to murder angels in an incredibly gory fashion, and it's just hilarious. Like, this opening just blows my mind even more than the opening to the original Bayonetta, because that was bonkers. Because you opened in the graveyard, and then it just went skyrocketing into levels of insanity, because you were kind of fighting on top of a stopped-in-time plane that was about to crash. But here you're fighting on a jet, you're fighting on a moving train against this thing, which is, I think, a belief. It did just pop up its name, but I wasn't watching and I can't quite remember. Now, I believe in the demo this was basically where it opened. But, yes, now I have to say, I do struggle to try and get through this entire prologue without getting hit. I mean, I should be able to do better, because I am a semi-reasonable Bayonetta 2 player. By semi-reasonable, I mean semi-competent. But, like, I'm not quite on it with my dodges, which is really annoying, because, like, I wish I could be one of those people who can pure platinum this game on the hardest difficulty. I mean, I physically can't. I'm not that good. I am, however, decent enough to be able to pull off a reasonably good run of Bayonetta 2.
That was quick.
That's exactly what I plan to do.
You think they're still open?
It's not Christmas without caviar.
Let's finish this quickly then.
And now we get to fight alongside Jeanne, which, if you've kind of played the original Bayonetta, it's awesome that you now have that, and two characters fighting alongside each other is something that is very important throughout Bayonetta 2, and is also the basis for one of its optional modes, which is called Climax. Now, I'm not going to go into that until a heck of a lot later, like after the main story of the game. But if you want to get halos, which you get from beating up angels, to get items, then that is something you can do outside of the game, and the halos follow you into the story mode, so it's a way of getting easy money. And he's nearly dead already. Like, this went so quickly. And if you think that this prologue is nearly over and hasn't quite reached, well, has kind of reached its most insane point, no. It's going even more insane. As Bayonetta summons Gamora, which is this dragon thing, with Avavago, which is Enochian for thunders, I think. Enochian is something I'll go into a little bit later on as well, but Gamora is awesome.
Jeanne! This isn't how things end! I'm not one for pets who don't listen to their masters.
And so, as we listen to Gamora, Devourer of the Divine, we begin a boss fight against Gamora. Like, this is insane. Because Gamora is one of your kind of primary summons throughout the original Bayonetta. So for him to turn against you is just like, oh my god, what's going on? And also, like, we're fighting a massive dragon demon going up a skyscraper. And we're flying. My mind is just exploding. And the other really awesome thing about this boss fight is that it showcases the introduction of Bayonetta 2's dynamic music. So at certain points during the boss fight, it'll trigger different stages and the music will change accordingly. And it's just amazing. And I mean, just this fight is just completely nuts, and I love it so much. My only problem with this prologue is that I don't quite believe that the rest of the game ever lives up to this level of wonderful insanity. I know some people disagree with me, but I think this is kind of one of the biggest highs in the game. And it's just completely bonkers. But Gamora has lost his life bar, and as it's time for the climax, we summon another demon. This one is actually new. This is Labalas, or however you want to pronounce it. Fun fact, when I first played the game, I actually got a pure platinum on that fight. Yeah, was that good? It didn't quite happen here, unfortunately. I wanted it to, but it didn't. Still got a platinum though, so I'm happy. Now, something that I'm not too keen on in terms of Bayonetta's storytelling technique is that we are introduced to our antagonists right here. Now, in the original Bayonetta, it's a surprise, essentially, throughout all of the game, as to who the main antagonist is. And it's only kind of right at the end that you finally get introduced to Boulder, who has been a voice that has kind of followed through, but you've never met him or seen him. So it's kind of a wonderful surprise. Whereas here you get shown them and the mystique is kind of lost a bit. But either way, we get to be here in the gates of hell and learn about what's going to happen to Jeanne, and also what the hell is going to happen in this game. Now, this cutscene style is kind of an extension of the movie strip thing from the first game. And the reason it's a clock is because there's all issues to do with time in this game. And I think it's cool, but I think it does suffer some of the same problems that it suffered the last time. And I will go more into that later on. But yes, let's find out about Jeanne.
Because I don't see no way of saving a soul lost in hell.
What about the gates? The real gates of hell?
I can't stop you from trying to use them, but I don't think you got a chance down there. I'll see what I can do about putting her on ice for a while. You'll need this. The heart of an Umbra Witch. The magic that keep your kind alive in this world for eternities. Should keep her body in this realm stable, but you'll need to reunite this with her soul if you're gonna try and bring her back. I figure you got about a day before it's game over.
Enzo, you've got a jet, right?
What? No! No, 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 no. I do not know. Listen, I appreciate the situation, but you know what today is? My kids got cookies baked for me at home. They're waiting for me. And I still gotta play Santa tonight.
Let the real Santa take care of the presents. Now let's go.
Hey, I said I believed. But Ed and Edna, you can't put one over on those cute little fuckers, let me tell you. Hey! Let go! Let go of me! Why do I always get wrapped up in this shit?
Ain't this motherfucker.
And so, the prologue is complete. I got a blooming platinum award! Yes! And it's time for us to begin our journey to find the gates of hell. Let's do this.